food for thought. Have there been times when you've allowed yourself to give under compulsion or begrudgingly? Well, let me ask you, do you see the money that you have as yours or God's? What are some things that you can do that will help you to remain a generous and cheerful giver? Ask God to keep your heart soft and pliable and ready to give as He leads. So, what times have you been a giver, under compulsion? I know I have, and not that it's a good thing, but I know that I have, sometimes this is kind of being more of a burden to me now than it is to someone else. Maybe, I wanted to give a ride to someone, and then it kept being out of my way. I wanted someone to stay with me, well, not wanted, but I allowed someone to stay with me, and then they became a burden to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be looking at this as helping, giving someone an opportunity to get back on their feet, and now I'm looking at it as something that's being a burden to me. And especially when we're giving money or material things to someone, it can be hard to let go of those things because we have our attachment to it, we have our grasp on it so hard that we don't remember that it's God's, that it causes us to maybe be more I don't say hurt, but just it causes more of a burden on us than we think. And I think one time that I think recently that happened is that I was leaving a friend's house, and one of the girls at the house, her car wouldn't start. And it was raining kind of lightly or whatever, but it was maybe about 5 or 6 girls that were just like, oh gosh, what to do. And I said, well, I have some, jumper cables or whatever. So we're trying to find the battery. Lo and behold, the battery was not in front of the car. It was in the trunk. So I had to pull my car up to the back, and her car was backed up into the actual, like, someone's lawn. So it wasn't like it would have been easier for me to just jump it in the front because it was the front was sticking out in the street, but she had, was backing up trying to drive out, and then it stopped. So it stopped like right at someone's, like the back end of the car was on someone's lawn, kind of. So I had to like turn my car towards that back part, and then get all the cables connected or whatever. And I was the only one with cables, and really have been jumping my car or jumping other people's car for a while just because I try to make sure that I have that on hand. So did that at the time, and I've been recovering from foot surgery. I had my boot on, and I was still under I still had to wear the boot, and I could walk, but it wasn't, I couldn't wear like a regular shoe. So in the boot is comfortable or whatever, and what I was trying to do is not to let the jumper cables touch. And through not wanting them to touch, when I pulled them off, I didn't like jump, off the ground or anything, but it startled me to the point where something like weird happened with my foot, and I was like, it was painful for a second. It was like a sharp pain, and then I kind of just had to hobble to my car and get in. But it was like, in the midst of me helping someone else, look what happened. Now, I don't know that it caused any major damage in the long run or anything like that, but I noticed that there was pain where it wasn't really pain before. Maybe I wasn't thinking about it. But either way, it felt like there was pain now because of this situation from helping someone else, And I'm not hating, I'm not mad at the other person. It's not their fault at all, but it's just about being careful. But it was just like, oh gosh, trying to help someone else, and then this happens to me. Now, it's not, like I said, I think that it's something that, the pain, maybe that just happened for that moment. It did make me look at my foot a little differently and make me be more careful, because the surgery was extensive and the recovery is extensive, so I just don't want to add more time to it. So anyway, I've had those moments, but the thing is, like I said, when we remember that it's all God's anyway, we remember that it's His money, it's more, and remember that other people need it. Other people, we're here to help other people, not just help ourselves. So it's like the cheerful part and the generosity of it is knowing that God has blessed you so much that you're able to give. Just think about like holidays, that the holidays coming up now, and so just think about those kids who won't have a Christmas, won't have toys, or families struggling on half of an income, and won't have something, or just a friend who's down on their luck, who just doesn't have enough to meet the bills for some reason, for different circumstances that just happen in life. I know my windshield broke twice in less than 2 months. And who has $1,000 to get that fixed in less than 2 months? So, I mean, I'm sure someone does, but I didn't at the time. So it's like being able to help meet others' needs is a part of that cheerfulness, is a part of that, you know, generosity, is that you're able to. Because I'm sure there are people who want to give who really technically are not able to give. So the fact that you're able to should be the part of cheerfulness, because you're like excited that God has blessed you to be a blessing. So that's one thing that I was, you know, thinking about. Now, one of my favorite things when I was thinking about this devotional this week, the scripture Ecclesiastes 11:1. I love this because God showed me this a few years ago. He just said, go to Ecclesiastes 11:1. And I was like, okay, what? And then I read, this is kind of how it read when I read it in my Bible, but it was, cast thy bread upon the waters, for after many days you will receive it again. Really? Cast thy bread upon the waters? It sounds so literal. It sounds like, here's my bread, cast it in the water. How's that helping? But you got to think about it in the terms of how God speaks, you know, to us. It's not literal. And it's basically, you know, like it said before in our devotional, send your grain across the seas, and in time profits will flow back to you. And it reminded me to invest. It reminded me to sow. It reminded me not to just have, not to think of money as just one way of having it, and like, okay, if I just hoard it here and it'll be fine, it'll be great. But cast it out, give, sow, invest in all different things so that it'll come. And in the next part of that scripture, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. So that spoke to me even more. So sometimes you got to not just look at the one verse, you got to read the verse before and after it to get a full meaning of it. That blessed me so much, because at that time I was wanting to save money, and you know, I wanted to actually make my money grow and work for me. And he blessed me to really have, you know, start having that mindset with that scripture. So, you know, take it to heed. You know, giving does have its own investment rewards, and it's called, you know, giving and you shall receive. Pressed down, shaken together, giving it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, all of that, running over. You want that. You want that. So see giving as an investment. See it as an investment as well. It's an investment into the kingdom. It's an investment into, you know, God's, you know, just favor upon you. It is so an investment. So I just wanted to, you know, highlight that scripture as well. And we talked about, you know, do you see the money that you have is yours or God's? I'm pretty sure some people see it as, oh, this is mine, I earned it, I made it. You know, God bless you to have it though too. Think about that. And what are some things that you can do that will help you to remain a cheerful giver? Counting your blessings is one. Counting my blessings is definitely one. Looking around at the things I already have and saying, I once wanted this, I once desired this, and God has blessed me to have it. So being cheerful with the things that God has blessed you with, and being able to help someone else, you know, be blessed as well. Have something that they may not have had before, or that they have wanted. That brings the cheer, to be able to say, I'm not just in this world by myself, and I don't just do everything on my own. So be good, be a giver, have a blessed week, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.